Hi there, welcome to your Positive Energy Recharge. I am your host, Jade Sterling, and you are here today to find out why you feel terrible. And perhaps it's not the reasons that you think, but I'm guessing that because you're here, you are going through a challenging time and perhaps you're ready for change. Perhaps you are just curious as to if things were to change, what might that look like? And perhaps the title just spiked your curiosity and you were just looking for a different perspective. For whatever reason that you're here, I am so glad that you're here and so relieved for you that you are looking for ways to be able to feel less terrible and just feel better. And that's what we're going to talk about today. I find that most people find me when they are tired. They feel like they've been on the hamster wheel of life, just treading water, going around and around, and they're exhausted, and that is why they feel terrible. But how can we feel better if things don't look like they're going to change? So welcome, and let me just ask you a couple of questions. Perhaps there's something going on for you in your life right now that's happening outside of you. How many of you feel that that is just moving in and taking over your life and creating havoc, and you just feel like it can't be controlled or contained or stopped in any way? Perhaps you are feeling a lot of anxiety or a lot of just intense big emotions that you don't know what to do with, and you really just don't want to feel that way anymore, and you're looking for some relief. In contrast to this, I'm interested in how many of you really want to just wake up every day with love and gratitude exploding out of your heart and just behind everything that you do. That is what we want to feel as human beings. We don't want to feel terrible. That's my experience. And there's a beautiful Chinese proverb that I found that defines the human goal as being two things. So there's two goals, really. There is happiness and there is peace. Now, this Chinese proverb defines happiness as being an unruffled inner world, and peace as being not the absence of chaos around us, but the ability to have a calm heart in the midst of it all. And I'm here to tell you that you can experience happiness and peace on the inside, no matter what is happening for you on the outside. And so we're going to look at why you feel terrible and how you can feel better. Now, just to give you a little bit of a background about myself, when I was feeling terrible, like the most terrible time in my life, and this might even sound like I'm exaggerating, but so much was happening. I was in my early 40s and having what I just was trying to write off as a midlife crisis, but there were so many things happening around me. We'd had fires at our back door, basically, in our region. We had lots of people, family, friends evacuating, and they were leaving stuff in our garage and staying at our house because our house was going to be safe from the fires. But it was a community crisis that required everyone to pull together. We finally got through the fires, and then COVID hit, and we had 2 years in our area of intense personal experiences that I'm sure all of you can relate to in some way or another. I'm not even going to begin to go into what some of the experiences were for some of us during COVID. Life changing is all I can say. Completely changed my life, and I'll certainly share more of that on another day. After 2 years of COVID, my beautiful town, I live in Lismore, which is on the northern rivers of New South Wales and the east coast of Australia, experienced a flood. Now, Lismore is a flood area. We'd had plenty of floods before, but this was a flood unlike any other, and it actually wiped out the entire town. It's still hard for me to talk about that without feeling emotion rising up. We lost all of our shops and our infrastructure, our entire CBD, as well as a huge amount of homes, not just businesses, but homes of people that I knew and loved and care about. We had lots of people, refugees from town, staying with us for a period of time. My mum lost her home and she was really unwell, and she ended up coming to live with us during that time. I could just go on and on. The whole video could be about that time. So with my mum living here, with the town trying to cope from the flood, on the back of COVID, on the back of the fires, my mum's health started to deteriorate, and so did my marriage. Now that is a whole other story. But at that time, I found it very difficult, and I felt like I was going down into a big dark hole. And that is when I truly feel like I hit my rock bottom. All of those things were happening on the outside, right? Plus, because I was so stressed and my nervous system was so heightened, I felt like I had such a short fuse for my children, and I wasn't present. I felt like a terrible parent. I wasn't really showing up in my best self in my work. You know how you just feel like you're trying your best, but your best just is not good enough, and you just feel like the walls are caving in, the wheels are falling off, and nothing's good enough, and look, it's all falling apart. That was my rock bottom, and I felt terrible. Now, you may or may not be able to relate to any of those things, but at this time, they were my circumstances. That was what's happening for me on the outside, in the outside world. And that is when I found coaching, and it turned everything around, because that was my story. I've just told you my story, and I really believed that that was my story. I also knew I needed help. And when I got help, which I was so fortunate enough to find, this person who wasn't involved in my drama of my story actually told me that we can rewrite the script. It doesn't have to be that way. And they presented me with new possibilities, and it was life-changing. And here I am now, having learnt the tools and gone through the experience myself, and this is what I'm here to do and teach to you all today. So I went from feeling terrible to feeling better to feeling amazing within a very short space of time. And really, if I was to isolate the one thing that changed it all, this is it. And this is what this whole video is about. So this is the meat and potatoes of what I teach. Or, you know, if you're a vegetarian like me, it's the tofu and potatoes. But circumstances in life happen. And circumstances are what it is. Now, you've probably heard the saying, it is what it is. That used to annoy me so much, but when I actually reflected on what that phrase means, it is what it is. It is what it is. Circumstances are just what they are. They're just the facts of things happening outside of you. The facts that can be proven in a court of law. There's no question about it. They're completely objective, and they can't be argued or debated in any way. Circumstances are what's happening outside of us that are facts. Circumstances are completely neutral. They're not good and they're not bad. They're only what we think they are. Now, let's repeat that. Circumstances are not good, they're not bad, they're only what you think they are. And so let's just take the bright blue sky outside today, which doesn't have a single cloud in it. And to me, a bright blue sky means no rain and warmth, and I feel positive emotion when I see a bright blue sky. My son sees a bright blue sky and he goes, oh, it's going to be hot. There'll be no cloud coverage. I'm going to have to wear sunscreen and a hat. And he experiences negative emotion when he sees a bright blue sky. So the circumstance is a bright blue sky outside. But the thought that we have about it, my thought is warmth, sun. That creates positive emotion within me. My son thinks sunscreen, hat. That generates negative emotion with him. So as you can see, circumstance doesn't change, but our thoughts about it does. Now, this is a game changer. If you really think about this, and this is the only thing that you learn in your life when it comes to the psychology of your mind and how you can learn to experience life in any way that you choose on the inside. I actually grew up with a mum who was a real pioneer in thought work, that in the early days in the 80s when Deepak Chopra was paving the way, and Wayne Dyer and Louise Hay and Shirley MacLaine were all coming out with these new age, interesting perspectives and different ways of thinking about things. It was all really, all roads led to your thoughts create your reality. And I grew up with that. So that's what I just knew to be true. Your thoughts create your reality. So when things were happening in my life that I thought was good, I thought, oh, I'm good. I'm having good thoughts. But when things were happening in my life that I thought were bad, I thought, oh, it's my fault. I'm thinking the wrong things. It never occurred to me, and nobody ever taught me, that something was only good because I thought that it was good, and something was only bad for the same reason. I hope this is making sense, and I hope that little light bulbs are going off for you right now, because this, if you can really grasp this concept, it will change your life forever. So I'm here to tell you that why you feel terrible is because you've decided that whatever is happening for you in your life right now is bad or isn't the way it should be, that things are not as they should be. And the only way to change that feeling on the inside for you is to look at what you're thinking. Now, it's not just as simple as, let's think positive, and let's just pick a happy thought and go, everything's fine and rosy and I'm good with this. It's not about that, because you can't fake it till you make it. If your brain doesn't believe you, it will laugh at you. Just another little story that I joined a gym that at the end of each workout, you had to look at yourself in the mirror and you had to say, I am tall, I am strong, and a bunch of affirmations. Now, if you know me at all, you will know that I'm not tall. I'm not even 5 foot high. And I wasn't very strong at the time. I struggled to do one single full push-up. So I would look at myself in the mirror and I was like, I am tall, I'm strong. And my brain was going, I was going to swear then, but I'm trying to keep this channel G-rated. So my brain was saying, no, it's not. Ha ha, and laughing at me in the back of my mind. And I didn't believe it at all, and I didn't make any process in this particular gym program that I was doing. There is no progress because my brain didn't believe that I was going to be able to succeed. So it's about finding a thought that you can take, that your brain believes, to act like a bridge for you to get to how you feel right now about your circumstances, to how do you want to feel about your circumstances if nothing was to change. And as I said, most of the time we want to feel happy, we want to feel peaceful, and we want to feel that regardless of what's happening, because the truth is life happens. And so all I want you to do for the next week, until the next video that comes out that's going to dive so much more deeper into how to feel better, the best way to start to not feel so terrible is to just start to have a look at how you're thinking about your circumstances. What are you thinking about your thinking? Remembering that your thoughts in your head are the sentences that are going around in your mind. They're the internal dialogue. They're what's chatting to you all day, every day. Your feelings come from your thoughts. If you have a thought that your brain believes, it releases chemicals into your bloodstream, and that creates a feeling that then tells your body what to do. This is more about what we're going to talk about next week. But if you are feeling a certain way, then we can go back to the thoughts and just have a look at what thoughts are you thinking that is creating what you're feeling. And thoughts are one word. They're just one word. Often I say to people, how do you feel about that? And they say, well, I feel like I'm just not it's not going to work out the way that it's supposed to. And I say, oh, that's a thought. That's more than one word. A feeling is, I feel anxious, I feel apprehensive, I feel hesitant. These are feelings: anger, happy, sad, one word. So over the next week, just observe what you're thinking and observe the difference between what you are recognizing as a circumstance of life, just a fact of life, and what you're thinking about those circumstances. And we can dive deeper into how to feel better next week. I hope that's been really helpful and just been a torch to shine a light in a dark place for you. If you are feeling as terrible as I was feeling when I first found this work, I just want to send you so much love in my heart and tell you that you can come through it not only stronger and braver and wiser, but so much more fulfilled and create such a deeper connection with yourself that will actually deepen your relationship with other people, that this is all happening in your favor for your own personal growth and development, and you are going to be such a better person because of it. That may sound cliche, and at the time you may be going, yeah, whatever, but I can only tell you from being on the other side of that coin that I have grown exponentially more than I ever thought that I would, and now I am here just emanating light and positivity to give to you, to recharge you, to go out and do the same. We are building a community here of positive powerhouses. And so I want you to go out there, start observing what's happening inside of your head. Be gentle, be kind, and always remember to exhale. See you next time.